I enjoy my ecosystem tank every evening before going to bed. But to me, the fast growth of plants and algae has to be contained. I saw an opportunity to clean and remodel the whole tank and adding 2 shrimp species for the very first time to this ecosystem to get an even more beautiful natural fish tank. To start, I'll remove the tiger Vallisneria first. You can see them growing all the way on the right side of the tank in the front section, so to say. And this is something I did not anticipate when I put them in there 4 weeks ago, that these plants grow extremely fast and very tall. So they reach the surface of the tank very quickly within, 4 or 5 weeks. And this is something, as I said, that I didn't anticipate. It's amazing that they reach the surface, and remember, there's no CO2 and no artificial fertilizer in this tank. And these plants, they created or produced so much biomass, it's difficult to believe that this is all without any CO2 fertilization, but it's actually possible. And the reason why this is possible, or the secret for this, is that I use a deep substrate. A substrate more or less according to the father fish principle or the Wallstedt method, with a lot of dirt, a lot of mud from my old tank, and what's it called, a pond soil. So really nutritious soil, and this is all covered with a layer of sand, and this enables the plants to develop beautiful root systems and really decent growth. You can see the forest of Vallisneria growing here, and it's not all of them are Vallisneria tiger or tiger Vallisnerias. Some of them are also the Gigantea variety or species. Next, I have to remove these giant Vallisneria australis Gigantea plants. They are absolutely beautiful, and I actually anticipated them to grow to a very decent size, but I did not anticipate that they would sprout as much as they did here. So you can see all of these how do you say, clones of the original plant. They are actually clones. They are still connected through this thick root, I would say, this green root. It's probably not called root in a strict biological way, but I think you know what I mean. They are still connected, and all of these 3 plants grew without me doing anything. Like, they grew within the last 4 weeks, and they just grew as they wanted, so to say, without me putting them somewhere. And again, this is astonishing how fast the biomass accumulated in this tank here without any, it's not even warm. The water is relatively cold, with around 24 degrees Celsius or 75 Fahrenheit if you're from the US. And I mean, look at the sheer size of this Vallisneria australis Gigantea. This is one leaf, and remember, this is not a small tank, right? This is a 240 liter, which is a 63 gallon fish tank, so it's not small at all. Next step is getting rid of these annoying filamentous algae, and then I can draw all the attention to the duckweed here. The duckweed has grown on the surface of this tank, quite rapidly, I would say. At the beginning it didn't grow that much, but now it's really getting a major plant or major organism in this tank. And on the duckweed I found another species. These are aquatic springtails, and they grew somehow on the surface of my tank without me doing anything. They probably have entered the tank through some plant I put in there a while ago, and now they are there. And check out the guppies. This is a snack for them. Like, I always try to remove some of the duckweed, and then I noticed that the guppies, for them it's a feast. It's like a Happy Meal for them, right? So they they eat away all of the springtails, and for them it's like it doesn't go any fresher, or it doesn't get any fresher than fresh springtails grown in this own tank. So again, this other Vallisneria australis gigantea here in the center, I also have to remove it, because after some time it will just create other offspring or offshoots, and they will block the whole view of the back of the tank. And my goal is really to put these Vallisneria, these tiger Vallisnerias and these giant Vallisnerias all the way to the back of the tank and let them grow there again. Then I have a nice view into the tank, and can show you guys the shrimp and both the Amano shrimp and the Neocaridina shrimp later on in this video, which are quite amazing. But again, look at the size of these leaves. It's insane. Now, in order to clean it properly, I want to remove this hardscape here on the right hand side again. To be honest, this gets more and more annoying. From every time I clean my tank, this root here, the black one, is so annoying to me, because it's not fully soaked with water yet, so it doesn't stay on the ground by itself, because it's lighter than the water, so it flows up to the surface. So I always have to leave this limestone on it, and this is a little bit annoying in the end. Yeah, it will just take another few weeks, probably even months, if it ever is fully submerged underwater, and until that I have to put the stones on it. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but yeah. Now we have a little hitchhiker. I moved the snail on all the way to the left. I think it was a zebra on the right. And yeah, it's just easier to clean all of the poo from my fish underneath the hardscape here, because obviously the stream of the filter is not strong enough to do all of that by itself. And later on I will siphon the water and some of the dirt, and then I can take care of it. But first I'll cut back all of the Vallisneria leaves here, because they really got out of hand, so to say, which is good. Again, for a tank that has no CO2 fertilization and just the standard light that came with the package when I bought this tank from Juwel. So I'm actually really happy with the growth of these plants, but I also want to see, right? I want to see my animals in the end, and I also want to create some room for them to swim. So I'm a little bit going at these plants like a hairdresser and just cut off the tips, so to say. And while I cut them off, I always try to get any bladder snails that are still on the leaves and remove them from these leaves, because I want the bladder snails to stay in there. They are my little cleaning crew. They reach into all of those little cracks and crevices where the larger snails cannot reach. And remember, so far I have no plecos in there, I have no Amano shrimp, I have no Neocaridina shrimp or other shrimp, which are usually considered amazing algae eaters. So I really rely on these bladder snails to help me a little bit, because as you know, I'm working in a full-time job and I can't clean my tank every day, so I need some help from Mother Nature here. And here again, you can see the dirt that has accumulated. Of course, some dirt will accumulate, and actually it's good. The ecosystem requires that. The plants thrive on the nitrates and on all of the other stuff that are deposited by the fish. And here in this view, you can see it a little better, even that it's really a lot of dirt that I stirred up with all of my actions now. And as I said, the plants use this as a fertilizer, and the guppy fish and the other fish in the tank, they don't care about that. But let's remove all of this dirt a little bit with siphoning it. I just use a normal pipe. It costs €2 in the pet store, or in the DIY store actually, and then just get rid of all of that dirt. And this is I don't know if this counts as unintentional ASMR, but for me this is really it's a pleasure to look at this, to see how it all gets clean, especially the sand, because it's this beautiful white sand that always reminds me of a saltwater tank or of the Caribbean. And actually, there are some inhabitants from the Caribbean even in this tank. I think you know what I'm referring to. I talked about it in my other videos. So there's one particular type of snail in the tank that is originally from the Caribbean, and that's why, yeah, just to get this more pure look back, I'm just cleaning the sand in the front of the tank, and with my finger I'm just getting rid of some smaller dirt particles. So now that all of the siphoning in today's session is done, I can replenish the sand. I just rinsed it a little bit with tap water. Tap water here in Germany, in my city, is super clean. You can always use it in any aquarium setup, at least for normal fish. Would be maybe difficult, but different for discus fish or for saltwater tanks. I don't have experience with those, but I've kept multiple types of catfish, multiple types of shrimp, and different crustaceans, also cichlids, and they all thrive in German tap water. You don't need to do anything really. But as I said, I'm usually keeping rather easy going species, so maybe you have other experiences here. I also can now place or put back in the, what's it called, the hardscape. And as I said, this annoying root is still too light to stay submerged under the water, so I'm always putting something heavy on it. In this case, this limestone here, which I think it has a nice look, but it would look prettier if you could do it the other way around. And then I'm using this as sort of like a little barrier, so I can put in the water right from the top into the tank, and it doesn't again stir up that much dirt or mulch from the ground of the tank. Also, what I like to do is putting the bucket a little higher here, so all of these air bubbles are created. You can see now in the center, and this way a lot of aeration gets into the tank. I mean, you always have to filter, but I'm sure that a little more oxygen can never harm, right? Again, I put back the sand that I rinse while getting back the water. Look at this. It's already right now crystal clear with this Vallisneria leaf, and I really like the detail in these leaves, because these leaves create sort of a little ecosystem by themselves, and that's what I always find very astonishing. The next day, the tank water is crystal clear. If you have a look at it from above or through the front glass, it's just, it looks amazing. This is why I do this hobby, to have this look in the morning when I wake up. It's absolutely beautiful. The molly, you can see this guy. He's enjoying his life here pretty much, but also the snails, the guppies, they all have a great time. And I've identified 2 spots where you can still see the wall behind the tank. And this is where I want to plant the cutlings from yesterday that I propagated, or used to propagate now. And first of all, I have to replant the anubias. Those are Anubias barterinana plants, and I removed them in order to clean a little bit beneath the root, or between the roots here. And yeah, to be honest, the Anubias plants are one of the few plants in this tank that don't do that well. They don't die, but they just also don't really grow. You can see it here, the leaves of them are not looking super healthy. For me it looks interesting, so I'll leave them in there, and I still have hope that after some time, when everything is in balance, they will grow. But nothing compared to the Hygrophila corymbosa stricta here in the front. These guys, they grow insanely quickly, and as I said, it's my go-to plant. I said this in other videos. As opposed to the Vallisneria australis gigantea. I expected them to die because they had terrible roots when we first planted them, and now I have to cut back everything. So you see, my expectations were completely wrong when I bought these plants. I bought them at my local pet store, and I was a little unhappy at the time. You can check out the video if you want, where I unboxed and put them in the tank first. They look really a bit sick even, so not really healthy, and I also said this in the video. And now, 5 weeks later, these plants, they look like they are genetically modified organisms or something. No, but all jokes aside, amazing growth. So apparently this tank setup without CO2 fertilization, with 22 degrees Celsius or 75 Fahrenheit, works extremely well for Vallisneria plants of 2 different kinds. So probably also other Vallisneria plants would do quite well in such a setup. Without CO2 fertilization. This is maybe something you can take from this video that you could apply in your tank. Now, also a nice part of my cleaning routine is using the floaty. The floaty is a simple tool for cleaning aquarium glass. This is not a paid promotion or anything, but I just like it. It's quite cheap. I think it was 10 euros or something on Amazon. And it's a tool from the company JBL, which is a really high quality producer, at least in my experience. I really like using their products, and you can see that it's easy going, and especially it has this function that it floats up to the water surface when you lose it, so to say, and this really helps with not falling down on the sand, leading to scratches in the glass. Also, what I love doing is cleaning the glass before putting in new animals. So before we going to put in the Amano shrimps and the Neocaridina Davidii shrimps that are beautifully colored, I would like to create like a cleaner glass here. So both you guys and I have a better view of the beautiful animals that we are going to put in. And I like to use standard glass cleaner, and you can use basically anything. Some people only do it with water, plain water, but I have had better results with glass cleaner, and then just using a normal cloth in the end and making everything look super crisp and super clean. However, guys, and please be careful here. Never put any chemical into your fish tank. And I'm not talking about artificial fertilizers or anything. You can put those in. I also really don't like that, because I think it's just a way to make some extra bucks for the companies that sell those items. But anything that you use to clean your house will kill your animals. It's plain and simple. So please don't put it in there. And now it's clean. Nice. So next step is unboxing what I got from the Calypso. This is now a few days later. Now the tank is ready for its new inhabitants. And here we have Neocaridina Davidii shrimp. We have 2 green ones and 3 black ones with a beautiful yellow stripe on their backs. And also, something that you guys didn't request, but I still got them, are baby Amano shrimp. They are still juveniles. They are very small, but they will grow to quite a decent size, I think. Amano shrimp get quite big. They are usually sold as species for nano tanks, but I don't understand this. They get quite a decent size. So, and my first step in acclimating them is giving them something to hold on to. Shrimps always need that. Usually in the pet store, in the local pet store, they always put something in, like a little plastic thingy. This time they didn't, which I don't appreciate actually. And after taking a decent sip of coffee, I'm going to do the next step of acclimating them, which is putting in some tank water. Just watch out to not get any guppies in there, because guppies are curious when there's new big things in their tank. I actually made a video about this some time ago, that they have this explorer gene in them, so to say. but this has the negative side effect that some of the guppies may be stuck in your glass if you remove them. But it's not a biggie. Let's just put it back inside. And I'm looking for a spot now to get water without getting too many hitchhikers here. So yeah, guppies and especially also they always swim to my hand because they know that the food is always going to be there where my hand is, right? Put in some tank water and let it sit for 15 minutes, and then the shrimp can slowly but surely adapt to the new water parameters, to the temperature and so on. Then I do this for another 2 times. The next step on my to-do list is unboxing the Lobelia Cardinalis. I have no experience so far with this plant. It's a plant that you can use to put right in the foreground of your fish tank, but I thought, okay, it's a cheap plant. I think it was €6, so roughly $7. But it looked very healthy in the fish store, and this is something I appreciated. And it looks like, I would say, roughly like a Hygrophila corymbosa stricta, which, as I told in numerous other videos, they just do amazing in my fish tanks. I don't know why, but these plants, they grow like how do you say, like pests, and that's why I bought the Lobelia Cardinalis here, because I think they look similar. They probably grow in a similar way, but not as tall, so I can use them in the foreground. But first of all, I have to get rid of this ugly rock wool. So they use it for growing these plants, and it's quite clean way. You can already see the roots developing there, or that have developed there. So it looks very healthy, and I hope it will grow in the future. Give me some insights if you had this plant in the past, or if you kept this plant in your fish tank in the past. Does it grow easily without CO2 fertilization? What do you guys think? And yeah, this is my routine here. I like to get rid of all of this stuff here, and if it doesn't work with the tweezers, I just rinse it with some tap water. Yeah, I know some people might say now, okay, you're rinsing away all of the nutrients, you are hurting the roots, but I really don't want to have this rock wool in my fish tank, because it just looks a little bad if you have that. Yeah. And then ripping them apart very gently. This is important, to not rip apart or tear apart the plant from the root. And this is very important, or very crucial, because otherwise you kill the plant usually. And this happens in some cases here, where in this case, for instance, where I tear it apart and then basically kill the plant. But from buying one plant, now I have like 6 or 7 small plantlings that I can use and just put into my tank. For this purpose, I like to use my set of little tweezers as always, and this helps you to put them right into the sand, and also the deep sand substrate here helps with putting them in. They are a little resistant at the beginning, but they slide right in, and I think they already look great in the foreground of this plant. Also, the Cory here on the right hand side is checking out what's going on here already, because this is something unusual to him, or to her. I don't know how to tell Coridora sexes apart. And yeah, I put in the Lobelia Cardinalis here. The next plant that I'm planting or unboxing first here is called Vesicularia Montagnei. I hope I pronounced it right. The way easier name for this plant is Java moss. At least in Germany we call it Java moss. And it has this squishy substrate on it. And again, like in the rock wool case, I just removed this. I don't want to have this stuff in my tank. It's probably also just nutrient-rich water gel or something, which, yeah, I think it's probably not even harmful for your tank or for your fish, but I don't want it in the tank. And then I will just remove it. Looks actually quite healthy. I think this producer, they charge a shit ton of money for these little containers of plants, but in my experience, they do really well. So I still like to purchase them. This little bucket here costs €8, I think, or yeah, 9 to 10 US dollars, and I want to place it between these two stones on the root that never submerges. And my hope is that it will grow, and it really works nicely with any kind of shrimp. You will see that later when I release the shrimp. They directly swim into this Java moss, but stay tuned until the end of the video to see this. First things first, let's finish our acclimation of the shrimp before we put them in. And for that, my second acclimation run or cycle, so to say, comes in place. Or no, actually that's the third even. I think I skipped the second in this video. But just so you know, acclimation in my case always takes like half an hour at least, or 1 hour even. And I put 2 to 3 times water in there, so the shrimps or also fish have enough time to get used to the new water parameters and the new temperature. So let's leave them there for some more time and put in the rest of the Java moss, or of the wait for it, Vesicularia Montagnei. I have no clue how to pronounce this again. Never learned Latin in school, unfortunately, so this is difficult for me. Yeah, and one more chunk of the Java moss goes to the left-hand side of the tank, so it can grow in different kind of light and how to say, water flow parameters, and I can see where it grows better for future setups as well. I also like to put away a little bit of the dirt, because this is 5 days after I started cleaning the tank at the beginning of the video, and a little bit of fish poo has accumulated, so I definitely have to clean the filter in the next video. Let's insert the shrimp. I'll start here with the Amano shrimp, the juvenile Amano shrimp, that are already as large or even bigger than the Neocaridina shrimp. The scientific name, in case you wondered, is Caridina multidentata. Caridina multidentata sounds like a dental appointment or something. And I'm putting them in, and you can directly see how beautiful they look. I mean, look at this little shrimp that is in the net here, checking out his new space. I'm glad the black molly didn't eat it. And the second one in this tank is also exploring the new space thoroughly already. And these guppy fish haven't seen Amano shrimps in a long time. They had 1 or 2 in there when I moved the tank to the new location, or when I moved the fish into the new tank in the new location. But ever since I moved them, I never saw them. So now they again have shrimp in their tank. And one main reason for me is, of course, because you guys voted for the shrimp, but also because they look beautiful, as you can see here, and because they will manage this filamentous algae problem, I hope. They basically start eating the algae right away, and that's one of my main motivations for putting shrimp in fish tanks. No, to be honest, the main motivation is because they look beautiful, and they are like very, how to say, they have this very granular structure, like these little arms, the little how to say, mouth parts, which make them very beautiful to me. Simply, they look like little robots sometimes, but way more beautiful. Also, another Amano shrimp here, quite a large one for its age. I think it's an Amano shrimp, right? Maybe it's also one of the Neocaridinas already. And it's exploring the Hygrophila corymbosa stricta plant here. Just beautiful. Ah yeah, now we get to the Neocaridina shrimp. They have done absolutely fantastic in one of my other fish tanks, in the Neocaridina / guppy, or the orange sakura / guppy tank. But this time I got another variety. I got 2 varieties, one green variety and a black with a yellow stripe on the back. Both of them are absolutely beautiful in their own way. And my hope is that the black molly will not eat them, and also the Corridoras won't eat them. Corridoras, I think their mouths are too small, so how are they called again? The shrimp, sorry, won't fit in. But I'm a little worried about the black molly, so I'm definitely going to feed them in later this evening to make sure they are not hungry. And I think if they survive the first few days, they will just do fine because then they know all of the hiding spots and stuff. But for until that time, I'm just hopeful that the black molly won't inhale them, so to say. Now we get the last two of them into their new habitat, and this is what I teased a little bit before. You can see this Neocaridina shrimp. I think it's a female. It's a little taller than the other ones, or larger than the other ones, and I think it already has eggs in its tail section. And you can see it somehow it's naturally drawn to the Java moss here, to the wait for it, Vesicularia Montagnei, and it it somehow fuses with the Java moss, and you can't even distinguish it from the Java moss anymore. Absolutely beautiful. Exactly what nature intended. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. It's free for you, but it's the best way you can support my channel and my work here, and I would highly appreciate it. I highly recommend watching this massive aquascape tutorial next, which you can see on the right hand side of the screen here, where I show how all of this tank started.